Welcome to another class in Halebanon, Avenue S, the corner of East 9th. We are learning tonight Perashat Vayishlah le'ilun nishmat Avraham Menachem ben Levi Yitzhak Ruach Hashem tenehenu began Eden. And I see from the name that he's Ashkenaz, so his neshama should have an aliyah, as they say. The Perashat starts off by saying Vayishlah Yaakov malachim lefanav el Esav achiv Arsa Se'ir Sede Edom. Yaakov Avinu wants to go back home, but he knows on his journey back home he's going to be encountered and met by Esav Rasha. So obviously he sends him gifts. Vaitzav otam lemor, and he tells the angels that he sends to Esav, Ko tomerun ladoni le'esav. This is what you tell my master Esav. Ko amar abdecha Yaakov. This is my message to you. Im Laban garti va'ihar ad'ata. I'm sorry, I really wanted to meet you earlier. It took me 20 years. The reason why it took me 20 years is because Im Laban garti. I was living with Lavan, my father-in-law, or our uncle. Because don't forget, Lavan is Rivka's brother. Rashi makes a point in the word garti. And he says, garti, begimatria, taryag. Garti is the same letters as Taryag. What is Taryag, Danny? 613 mitzvot. The Torah has 613 mitzvot. So Rashi says, Im Laban harasha garti, betaryag mitzvot shamarti. I lived with Lavan, and you know what happened when I lived with Lavan? I made sure to keep all the 613 mitzvot. This is the Rashi. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just remember the message of Yaakov to Esav. Ko tomerun, ko amar. This is what you say, this is what I say. Why does Yaakov Avinu make it a point to use the word ko twice? Again, ko means this. Just say, this is what you should say to Esav, and say the message. No, he says, ko tomerun la Esav, ko amar abdecha Yaakov. He uses the word ko twice. We'll get to that later. But the Sefer Divrei David asks a very powerful question on this Rashi. Now let's refresh the memory. Rashi says the word taryag, the word garti, pardon me, means I lived, I dwelled, but also means taryag, 613 mitzvot. And then the Sefer Divrei David asks the question, He'ach efshar lekayem kol taryag mitzvot. How could, forget about Yaakov, how could anybody keep 613 mitzvot? Why? והלא יש ביניהם מצוות הנוהגות לכלל ישראל כגון הקמת מלך ובניין בית המקדש. There are some laws that apply to rebuilding the Beit HaMikdash. There are some laws apply to appointing or anointing a king. There are some laws that apply if you're a Kohen, if you're a Levi, if you're Israel. Famous example we always say, you're Yisrael. You marry a lady that's Yisraelite. You have the first child, natural birth. After 30 days, Pidyon. Levi will never get the chance to fulfill the mitzvah of Pidyon. Kohen will never get the chance of fulfilling the mitzvah of Pidyon. So how does Yaakov Avinu say, I kept the 613 mitzvot? Yaakov, you're not in Israel. You didn't build the Beit HaMikdash. There's no terumah. There's no ma'aser. And he says, Vayesh lomar. I can maybe answer. De amrinan de menachot. There is a saying in the Gemara, Kol ha'osek betorat korbanot, ki'ilu hikrib otam. Anyone that learns the laws of sacrifices, it's as if he brought a sacrifice. He says, if that's the case, hachiname, over here we could say the same logic. She'asakti betorah shekol ha'mitzvot, V'hava ki'ilu kiyamtim. Yaakov Avinu was relaying the message to Esav. I was living by my uncle, by my father-in-law Lavan, and I learned the whole Torah. And in the Torah, I learned the laws of all the mitzvot, so it's as if I kept all the mitzvot. But the obvious question on this statement of the Divrei David, Yaakov Avinu was missing a very important mitzvah that Esav Rasha had, and that is kibud ab va'em. The laws of honoring your father and your mother. Unbelievable laws. So Esav Rasha was honoring Rivka and Yitzhak because you lived with them. Yaakov, you were away from your parents for 20 years. You don't have that mitzvah. So again, I understand what the Divrei David is saying, but it's still not confusing. It's still hard to digest. What does that mean? If you learn all the halachot, it's beautiful. So that means I don't have to do any mitzvot. Correct? I don't have to do anything. Let me just sit down in shul, learn all the halachot of the mitzvot, and it's as if I kept them. Which means I pick up a cup of coffee. I don't have to say the barakah on she'akol. Why? I learned the halachot of she'akol, and it's as if I fulfilled the barakah of she'akol on the cup of coffee. Understand the logic where I'm going with this? Which means if really learning about the mitzvot, it's as if I keep the mitzvot. So what am I even keeping the mitzvot for? So is it like a trick? Is it a hack? Are we tweaking the system? Or does it really come true? Is it really that if I learn about the mitzvah, it's as if I'm keeping the mitzvah? Next, we continue. Says Yaakov Avinu, or says the pasuk about Yaakov, Vayikach min haba beyado minha le'esav ahiv. He takes everything that he has on hand, from the sheep, from the camels, from the donkeys, and he sends it to Esav as a gift before he meets Esav, as if to satiate his eye, as if to quiet him down. Look, because usually when people are very angry, they say, never talk to a person when they're hungry. That's what they say. Because when they're hungry, all they see in front of their face is food. So you're coming to ask them something about school, about shul, about... I don't see anything in front of my eyes other than the piece of food that I need to eat. So don't talk to them. So over here, Esav, all Esav cares about is riches, is money. That's all he cares about. Yaakov is going to come over to him. Oh, by the way, I'm not scared of you. You know why? Because I learned Torah. It's as if I kept the mitzvot. Esav says, what are you talking about? I need to see money. You have money for me? So Yaakov Avinu says, yes, I have money for you. So he sends Esav a gift of 580 animals. But the pasuk says, Vayikach min haba beyado minha le'esav ahiv. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this word beyado? Vayikach min haba beyado. He takes what he has in his hand. What does that mean? Why do I need this word in the pasuk? It could have just said, Vayikach minha le'esav ahiv. He takes a gift for his brother Esav. What is this? Min haba beyado. What is this yado business? What is this hand business? Furthermore, what is this word minha? Minha means a gift. But it should have said matana. Right? How do you say gift in Hebrew? Matana. So what is this word minha? What makes it more confusing is if you look at Unkelus, yes, I have to say a disclaimer right now. This class is going to be very deep, so you have to follow along if you didn't notice. Unkelus says, you know what minha means? Tikrubta. What is the word tikrubta? Well, when I hear the word tikrubta, it sounds like korban. Tikrubta leid karev korban. So, Unkelus doesn't even explain minha to be a gift. Unkelus, which is Aramaic, explains the word minha to be a korban. So he sends a korban to Esav. What exactly is going on over here? So I hope that you followed along and understand all these questions, or remember these questions that we have to ask. Fine. So these are the questions that we have to answer, and this is when we start. It's funny because I was driving here and I got a text message from Sha'arei Tzion. Sha'arei Tzion, Baruch Hashem, they have text messages going on. They send them out about different classes and different speeches. And I got a message, and I'll read you the message. I'm not hiding anything. And the message says like this, Mamash, right? 728 was on the way here. New Art Scroll book release. Baruch Hashem. Art Scroll came out with a new book. Moshe, I'm sure you got that also, because YDE, we're all together. The Power of Shema. By who? By none other, Baruch Hashem, than Rabbi Meir Yedid. Beautiful. The Power of Shema. Now, why do I find this as a coincidence? There's no coincidences. But why do I find this as a Habaratit? Because the class tonight is all about Shema. So it's as if I'm getting a thumbs up from God to say, okay, go along with this power of Shema. And this is what I'd like to speak about tonight, the power of Shema. Now we all know, it's no surprise, that Shema, there is no greater tefillah that we have from the Torah. See, the Amidah is instituted by the rabbis. Shema is the Oraita. Well, how do I know it's the Oraita? Because it says in the Torah, Shema Yisrael, right? 2 times. So, Qira'at Shema is very powerful. There's no secret, there's no surprises, there's nothing more powerful and greater than Qira'at Shema to, first of all, win your adversaries, both physical and spiritual. And number 2, the main point of Qira'at Shema is لَيَحِدْ et HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to unify God. Now, you know, the Muslims, لَيَحَبْدِي الْأَلَفْ Abdalot, to differentiate between us and them, they have something called wahidu. Wahidu means they say, La ilaha illallah. That's what they say. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not anything wrong. La ilaha illallah means there is nobody other than Allah, than God. Where'd they get that from? Obviously from us. Because what do we say in Shema Yisrael? Shema Yisrael. Hashem Eloheinu, Hashem Echad. What does that mean, Danny? I'm unifying, making God one. So they took it from us. So the power of Qira'at Shema, you know why it's so powerful? Because right now you're unifying God, you're making God one, not only in the world, but upon yourself right now. You are saying, that's why Qira'at Shema is called All Malchut Shamayim. If you look at the word Shema, Shin Mem Ayin, it makes the acronym of All Malchut Shamayim, backwards. All Malchut Shamayim, I like that. I should write it for the Arabic class. Because I didn't write it here, but sometimes you think about something that you don't write, so you have to write that down. So, Shema means all Malchut Shamayim, which means I'm taking the yoke of heaven and putting it on my shoulder. And the rabbis say in Gemara Masechet Sotah, Daf Mem Bet, I'll read you right now, Qira'at Shema was so powerful that every time Am Yisrael, before they went out to war, the Kohen had to stand there. There used to be a special Kohen escorting them to war. The Kohen didn't himself go out to war, but he was called Kohen Mashuach Milchama. He would go out to the war, and before they entered the war, before they went to fight, he would tell them, Shema Yisrael, Atem kerebim hayom lamilchama al oibechem, al yerach lebabchem. Listen, Israel, you're right now going against your enemies, fighting your enemies in war. Don't be afraid. Says the Gemara, Masechet Sotah, Daf Mem Bet. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Yochanan told us in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Amar Lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeYisrael. Hashem tells us, Afilu lo kiyamtem ela Qira'at Shema shahrit ve'arbit. If all you have going for you in life is saying Qira'at Shema in the morning and in the evening, I atem nimsarim be'adam. That's enough to save you from the war. So now what does the Kohen say? Shema Yisrael. He's saying, listen, O Israel, but he's also reminding them, you know why you shouldn't be worried to go against your enemies in war? Because you have the power of Shema Yisrael. So Shema Yisrael is very powerful. We're able to win our adversaries, both physical and spiritual, which we'll learn with the power of Qira'at Shema. Where do we see this furthermore? You know, we had a very big enemy in Sefer Shemuel. There was a young boy by the name of David HaMelech. Before he was a Melech, he was called David. There was a mighty warrior by the name of Goliath. Goliath stands up and he says, any one of you that can destroy me, that can get rid of me, all the Pelishtim, his name was Goliath HaPelishti, all the Pelishtim will be your servants, will be your slaves. Because Goliath was an Anak, was a giant. He had armor from head to toe. Nobody was able to defeat him. The only one that was able to is David HaMelech. And there was a little opening over here. You know, he had that, you know how you ever see knights? Right? Knights. He had that armor, but he only had a little opening over here. So what does David HaMelech do? He takes rocks and slingshot, and he slings it the direction of Goliath, and the stone falls here, and Goliath falls front. And it says in the Pasuk, Vayigash HaPelishti Hashkem VeHa'areb. The Pelishti, Goliath, used to taunt Am Yisrael Dani. When? In the morning and in the evening. Why not in the afternoon? Says the Gemara, very same Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yohanan, Kedele batelan mikriat shema shahrit ve'arbit. You know why he used to stand over there in the morning and in the evening? Because Am Yisrael used to have kavanah, an intention while saying Kriyat Shema to destroy their enemies. And he would know that exact moment and he would stand over there in the camp and taunt and ridicule Am Yisrael in order for them to lose focus on Kriyat Shema. You understand how powerful Kriyat Shema is? That even our enemies, they know how powerful Kriyat Shema is. Because when we had the Beit HaMikdash, when we had Korbanot, when we had the Beit Din, when we were living with Hashem, with the Shekhinah alone was able to hover over us and safeguard us from our enemies. Today, we don't have the Beit HaMikdash, we don't have Sanhedrin, we don't have Beit Din. The time is not like it used to be. So the only thing that we have going for us to save us from our enemies, Morai v'Rabotai, is Kriyat Shema. And so powerful is Kriyat Shema that the Rabbi Divrei David, which I quoted you earlier, was not saying an exaggeration. It's true. Because today, since we don't have korbanot, sacrifices, you say Kriyat Shema, it's as if you are bringing a sacrifice on the altar. How do I know? Midrash Yalkut Shim'oni, Remes Taf Taf Lamed He, says like this. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeYisrael, Hashem tells Am Yisrael, L'she'abar, it used to be, הייתם מקריבים לי שתי פעמים ביום, את הכבש אחד תעשה בבוקר, ואת הכבש השני תעשה בין ה-40. We say it every single day. It used to be, in the time of the Beit HaMikdash, used to sacrifice 2 sacrifices, one in the morning, one in the evening. And that used to save you from your enemies. You know, the reason why we used to sacrifice is only because we wanted Hashem to save us from the enemies. Galui ve'yadua, says Hashem in the Midrash. Galui ve'yadua lefanai, but I know shebet hamikdash atid lehareb, that I'm going to destroy my home. Umekan va'elach atem yecholim la'akrib korbanot, and you won't be able to bring sacrifices. Ela mebakesh ani temuratam shel korbanot. I'm giving you something to redeem yourself from not having sacrifices. And what is that? Shema Yisrael ba'boker, Shema Yisrael ba'ereb. We used to bring a sacrifice in the morning and a sacrifice in the evening. But says Hashem, in the time where there is no Beit HaMikdash, what will be in the place of the sacrifices? Shema Yisrael in the morning, Shema Yisrael in the evening, ve'oleh lefanai, listen to the key word, yoter mikol korbanot. What does the word yoter mean, Eli? More. Means the power of Kriyat Shema nowadays is more, I didn't say this, the Midrash says this, is more powerful than bringing korbanot. How do we know this? There is a Gemara, Masechet Megillah Daf Gimel. Vahi biyot Yoshua biriho. Yoshua and Am Yisrael, they bring down the walls of Yericho. And now they're sleeping. And Yoshua is there, he's awakened from his sleep. By who? By a malach, by an angel. Vaisa'ina vayar, and Yoshua lifts his eyes and he sees, Ve'ne ish omed lenegdo. He sees a man standing in front of him. Vayomer lo, and he asks this man. He doesn't know if he's an angel or not. He sees a regular man, but it was an angel. And he asks him, Halanu ata im letzarenu? Are you for us or for our enemies? Meaning, on the surface to say, are you with us, destroying our enemies, or are you actually our enemy? Says the Gemara Masechet Megillah. What is the angel coming now for? You know why? Because Am Yisrael went to sleep that night and they did not sacrifice the sacrifice of the evening. The Malach tells Yoshua, Amar lo, emesh bitaltem tamid shel ben ha'arbaim. Not only did you not sacrifice the evening sacrifice, ve'achshav bitaltem talmud Torah. But now everybody's sleeping, nobody's learning? What's wrong with you? Not only didn't you bring the sacrifice in the evening, which you have to, because it was a Mishkan, but also you didn't learn Torah. So now Yoshua asks him, okay, I understand. But what's more severe? What's worse in God's eyes? Halanu o letzarenu. What does lanu o letzarenu means? The Tosafot says on this, we have a pasuk that says, Torah tziva lanu Moshe. So Yoshua is asking him, are you coming because of the lanu? Are you coming because we didn't learn Torah? Or are you coming for the tsarenu? Ladies and gentlemen, what does the word tsarenu mean? Our enemies. Means because we didn't say Kiriat Shema, or we didn't bring the sacrifice against our enemies. You understand? So Yoshua himself doesn't understand what's more powerful. Is Torah more powerful? Is Kiriat Shema more powerful? Is the sacrifice more powerful? And if you want to know the end of the story, open the Gemara Masechet Megillah, Daf Gimel. You see the end of the story. I can't ruin it for you in case you wanted to watch. I'm not spoiling anything for you. You know, spoilers. When you're watching something with the guy, no, spoilers is the worst thing. So I don't want to spoil this for you. Open the Gemara over there. But what I'm trying to bring over here is just like there are sacrifices that save us from our enemies, we have the power of Kiriat Shema nowadays to save us from our enemies, and it's even more powerful than the Korbanot. Not only does it save us from our physical enemies, it saves us from our spiritual enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one huge spiritual enemy, and that is the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. And how do I know? David HaMelech writes in Tehillim, the Mizmor that you're all familiar with, Shir Ma'alot Esa Einai Leharim Me'ain Yabo Izli. David HaMelech says, Hashem Yishmorcha Mikora, Yishmor et Nafshecha. God will save you from all evil, will save your soul. If you just told me He's going to save me from all evil, this is superfluous. Why tell me? It's seemingly extra. Why tell me Yishmor et Nafshecha? But no. If you say Kiriat Shema, what David HaMelech saying, and you think it's a coincidence that the rabbis instituted this in Arabit, when we say Kiriat Shema, there's no coincidences. The rabbis know what they're doing. What is David HaMelech saying? If you say Kiriat Shema, Hashem Yishmorcha Mikora, He'll save you from all your physical enemies, and also Yishmor et Nafshecha. He'll also save you from your nefesh, from your spiritual enemy that's trying to damage your soul. How unbelievable Kiriat Shema is. Says the Sefer Tzeror Hamor. Why does Shema Yisrael start off with the words Shema Yisrael? Says the Sefer Tzeror Hamor, you know who Yisrael is? Yisrael is not you. Yisrael is Yaakov Avinu. Because in this week's Perashat, Yaakov Avinu's name gets changed to Yisrael. So it says the Sefer Tzeror Hamor, Yaakov Avinu knew the power and the segula. You know, last night somebody asked me, Rabbi, what do you think about segulot? You weren't here, but whoever was here knows what I answered the lady. Yeah, so you know what I answered her, but says the Sefer Tzorah Hamor, Yaakov Avinu knew more than Avraham and Yitzhak the power and the segula. Yes, Shema Yisrael has a segula from the Torah. The power and segula of Kiriat Shema more than Avraham, more than Yitzhak. And therefore we say Shema Yisrael to tap into that energy of Yisrael of Yaakov Avinu. And what exactly did Yaakov Avinu know about Kiriat Shema? Listen to this fascinating Megaleh Amukot. I really hope we finish the class tonight because it's a very powerful class. Not because I prepared it, but because it's very powerful stuff. Says the Megaleh Amukot. Vaitzav otam lemor, ko tomerun, ko aman. Remember we asked the question, what is the ko twice? Says the Megaleh Amukot. Kesherotzim lebatel koach Esav. When you want to get rid of the Esav in your life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Esav doesn't necessarily mean Esav, the wicked person years ago. Esav means all your enemies, physical and spiritual, all the problems you have in life. He says, Serichim leyahed Kiriat Shema. You have to have Kiriat Shema, kavanah and focus and intention in Kiriat Shema in Ko. What does Ko mean? Ko is numerical value 25. There are 25 letters in Kiriat Shema in the first pasuk. So you know what Yaakov Avinu is telling Esav? Buddy, I'm not afraid of you. You know why? Because Ko and Ko. I say Kiriat Shema that has 25 letters in the morning And Kriyat Shema that has 25 letters in the evening. I'm not scared of you. You could do whatever you want. He says like this. And now we understand what happens with Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu in Perashat Shemot, he sees the Egyptian striking the Jew. So what does Moshe Rabbeinu do? Before he hits him, before he kills him, it says in the Pasuk, Vayifen ko vako. What does it mean? He looks here and he looks there. No, it doesn't mean he looks here, he looks there. Moshe Rabbeinu, you know why he was able to win all his adversaries and kill the Egyptian? Because he had the ko. He had the 25 power. The 25 letters in Kriyat Shema in the first pasuk, in the morning and in the evening. And what does it say after? Vayifen ko vako, vayach et ha-Mitzri. And then he was able to kill his adversary. Then he was able to kill the Egyptian. He says, כשישראל מייחדים ייחוד של שחרית וייחוד של ערבית, בזה ויח את המצרי. When you're able to have kavanah, you know, kavanah and tefillah is beautiful. We should have kavanah in everything. We really should. I mean, if you're praying, you might as well understand what you're praying. But if anything, moreover than anything, Kriyat Shema. It's a hayuv de'oraita. It's from the Torah, not from the rabbis. So it's even more severe in the morning and in the evening. Have focus. At least in the first pasuk, understand what you're saying. So if that's the case, this is upside down. If that's the case, Esav comes with 400 people against Yaakov, correct? Now, if we were to say 400 in Hebrew, we say 400, right? If we were to say it in Gematria, we would say Taf. The letter Taf in Gematria is 400. But what two letters, when I bring them together, make 400? Kof and Shin. Kof is 100. Shin is 300. That's 400. Kof Shin is the acronym of Kriyat Shema. Which means you know how Yaakov... Danny, you don't like this Hidush? Come on, start dancing. It's a powerful Hidush. Shall I repeat it? You know why Yaakov Avinu was not afraid of the 400 people? Of the Kof Shin, of the 400? Because he had something more powerful. He had the Kriyat Shema. And by the way, you know why he's not afraid later? When the Malach, when the angel of Esav comes and he wants to wrestle Yaakov and bring him down, he's not afraid of him. You know why? It says in the Pasuk, Vayit'abek ish imo. A man comes and wrestles with him. Vayit'abek means to wrestle. Ish is man. What's the last letter of Vayit'abek? Kof. What's the last letter of Ish? Shin. So you have again the Kof and Shin. That's why Yaakov Avinu is not afraid. Because he has the power of Kriyat Shema. He has the power of 400. But when was Yaakov Avinu able to defeat the angel of Esav? It says in the Pasuk, Alot HaShahar. What does Alot HaShahar mean? Daybreak. You know why? Because the earliest time you could say Kriyat Shema is daybreak. So in the night time, he only has the night Shema. He needs the power of the night Shema, of the Ko, of the 25 in the night. He also needs the power of Kriyat Shema, of the Ko, in the daytime. That's why the only time he was able to defeat his adversary, the angel, was Alot HaShahar. You see how Yaakov Avinu knows the secret of this powerful Kriyat Shema recitation every single day. Says the Sefer Tiferet Shelomo. Something unbelievable. He says, we see over here, in the beginning of the Perashat, that Yaakov Avinu sends Malachim. Right? So Yaakov Avinu sends angels. Why can't Yaakov Avinu send regular people? Send regular people. Send people. Why does it have to be Dafka angels? Says Rashi, you know what he sent? Malachim Mamash. Real angels. Oh, Hazak Baruch. I thought they were fake. There's such a thing as a fake angel? Says it Tiferet Shalom. Wait. You're not picking up on the language of Rashi. Rashi uses the word Mamash. Ladies and gentlemen, how do we spell Mamash? Mem, Shin. That means real. Says it Tiferet Shalom. You know what Mamash is an acronym for? Mikabbalat Malchut Shamayim. Hainu HaMalachim היוצאים מכוונת קריאת שמע הוא העיקר להכניע שר של עשיו. You know what Yaakov Avinu is doing? He created the angels. I wish I was able to create an angel. Imagine having an angel go for you. I'm in the mood for a cup of coffee. I'll be right back, boss. Boss, right away. Imagine that. Yaakov Avinu, ladies and gentlemen, was able to create an angel. How was he able to create an angel? From Kriyat Shema. So you're asking me, how do I get rid of my enemies? How do I have panasa? How do I have shalom bayit? How do I have beracha? Kriyat Shema. There is nothing more powerful than Kriyat Shema. And that's why, by the way, the halacha says, in Kriyat Shema, you cannot wink, you cannot move your hands, you cannot speak, nothing. Somebody comes and says hello to you, you're not allowed to answer them back. Why? Because it's such a powerful prayer. It's the oraita, it's a hayu from the Torah. Says the Megaleh Amukot, with this we understand the story of Balak and Bil'am. Fascinating. Look what he says. He says, Vayar Balak ben Sipor, et kol asher asa Yisrael la'emori. Balak sees everything that Yisrael does to the Emori. The Emori was a nation. Says the Megaleh Amukot, who's Yisrael? Yisrael is Yaakov. And who's the Emori? Esav. Balak saw everything that Yaakov did to overpower Esav. Which means Balak saw that Yaakov Avinu had the power of Kriyat Shema to defeat Esav. And therefore he summons right away Bil'am. And what does he tell him? Lecha na arali et ha'am hazeh. Lecha in Hebrew should be spelled Lamed Chaf. Right? Lecha, Lamed Chaf. However, in the Torah it's spelled, ladies and gentlemen, Lamed Chaf He. Why Lamed Chaf He? Says the Megaleh Amukot. Because what Balak is telling Bil'am, Am Yisrael has the power of Chaf He. They have the power of 25. So Lecha is an acronym. La'akor Chaf He. To get rid of the Chaf He. Do me a favor. I know the only reason why these Jews are able to defeat us, and the only reason why they are successful in everything that they do, is because they say Kriyat Shema, that has Chaf He, that has 25 letters in the first pasuk. So do me a favor, Lecha Arali. You do something to defeat the 25. And you know what happens? Bil'am gets the message. And Bil'am says, oh, wait. If I read the Perashat of Vayishlah, I see that Yaakov Avinu uses the word ko twice to symbolize the ko 25 Kriyat Shema in the nighttime and the ko Kriyat Shema in the daytime. So you know what Bil'am tells Balak? Hityaseb ko al olatecha ve'anochi ikareko. Bil'am also uses the word ko twice. He tells him, stand here by your sacrifices and I'll come back to you here. Just tell him I'll come back to you. Why stand here and I'll come back to you here? Because Bil'am knows the power of ko, ladies and gentlemen. Bil'am knows the power of the 25. He knows that Am Yisrael is only successful with the 25, with the Kriyat Shema. So therefore, in order to counteract the 25 of the Jews, he also uses the word ko twice. Says the Sefer Lahmei Todah. Told you there's going to be a lot of sources. There's the Sefer Lahmei Todah. Out of all the names that God, or the angel first, could have changed Yaakov Avinu's name to, why does he change his name to Yisrael? Because you're going to tell me Yisrael means because he was able to sar im el, because he was able to defeat the messenger of God. That's nice. Says Lahmei Todah, no. I'll give you another hidush. Very novel, beautiful idea. He says like this. You know, Yaakov Avinu, just picture the scene. Yaakov Avinu is wrestling. He's trying to defeat the angel, and he's not able to. Until the alot shahar, until daybreak, boom, he's able to kill him. He's able to defeat him. But the whole time, the angel's watching Yaakov Avinu's lips move, and the whole time Yaakov Avinu is saying, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elkinu, Hashem Echad. Shema, because of the 25. So Yaakov Avinu is focusing on the 25. So says the angel to Yaakov, Ma shemecha, what's your name? He says, Yaakov. He says, no. You're no longer Yaakov. Because the only way you were able to defeat me is because you were tapping into the energy and into the power of Yisrael. Yisrael, Shema Yisrael. So therefore, I will call you Yisrael. Did you get that? Did everybody understand this novel, beautiful explanation? Let me read it to you from inside. He says, because I can't do it justice like he does. He says, Sarosh al-Isav, who has Satan. Who is the angel of Isav, the ministering angel of Isav? The evil incarnation. Samich Mem Aleph Lamed, that's his name, Sami. He says, Uba'alot ha-shahar, but when there was the morning, Higiya zeman kiri'at shema. Kiri'at shema time came. Ve'aya men at-sehob be-kiri'at shema. And he saw that, daybreak came, dawn came, I'm gone, I'm done. Ve'zeh she'amar lo, ma shemecha. He says, what's your name? Why do you ask what's your name? Me'ahar she'shama' mimenu she'amar shema Yisrael. He kept on saying, Shema Yisrael. Yaakov Avinu kept on saying, muttering, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael. So what is a Shema Yisrael? Oh, you're trying to defeat me by tapping into the power and spiritual energy of Shema Yisrael, the 25 letters. So therefore he says, therefore I will call you Yisrael. And Hashem vouches. And Hashem stamps. In the end of the Perashat, Hashem comes to Yaakov and he says, Yaakov, your name is no longer Yaakov, your name is Israel. But why, God? Why are you naming me Israel? Because of the power of Shema Yisrael that you were able to defeat not only Isav, but you're also able to defeat the spiritual energy. We had the physical enemy, Isav, but the spiritual enemy also of the ministering angel of Isav, which is the Samich Mem Aleph Lamed. We can maybe add on to this, is that, we said that the Pasuk says, Vaye'abek ish imo ad alot ha-shahar. An ish, a spiritual man, comes and fights Yaakov until dawn. Well, if you take the Gematria, now's the Gematria portion. If you take the Gematria, the numerical value, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that's 1118. With the 25, count every single letter, 11, 18, and 25, math real quick, I did it for you, 1143. Same exact numerical value as Ve'yabek ish imo ad alot. So you know how Yaakov Avinu was able to defeat the angel at dawn, at daybreak? With the power of Kriyat Shema. So now, we're going to tie everything together. What does Yaakov Avinu tell Esav? He says, I was living with Lavan, and I kept all the mitzvot. And we asked a simple question. How could you keep all the mitzvot? There are mitzvot that don't pertain to you. How do you keep all the mitzvot? So listen to the Zohar HaKadosh. Zohar HaKadosh over here, in Perashat Va'ethanan, Daf, Helek Gimel Daf Resh, Samech Daled Amud Bet. Says the Zohar in Aramaic, but in the English he says like this. Whoever says Kriyat Shema with Kavanah, Ki'ilu Kiyem Kol HaTorah Kula. It's as if he kept all the mitzvot of the Torah. Boom. So you know what Yaakov Avinu was telling Esav? I don't have to keep all the mitzvot. He did. But I don't have to. You know why? Because I have something that's equivalent to all the mitzvot. And what's equivalent to all the mitzvot is Kriyat Shema. My brother, I love you, but I'm not afraid of you. Because I have to have the power of Kriyat Shema. But we still have to answer, what does it mean, Mihabba beyado? He takes everything in his hand. Because how do you do Kriyat Shema? You use your hand. So you know what Yaakov is telling Esav? I'm not afraid of you. You know why? Because Mihabba beyado. Because I have a yado, I have a yad, I have a hand. And you know what I do with my hand? Kriyat Shema. You want to do this, you want to do this, whatever you want, hokey pokey, you could do whatever you want. But really, you take your hand and put it over here. Why do you take your hand and put it over here? Of course, not to divert the attention from Kriyat Shema, of course. The spiritual meaning is that you take your hand and you tap into the energy and you cover, just like Yaakov Avinu. He says, I have the power of Kriyat Shema in my hand. But how exactly does he have Kriyat Shema power in his hand? Well, ladies and gentlemen, says the Sefer Amud Torah, HaTorah. He says, 5 fingers. Yeah. This is called a gudal. This is called an etzba. This is called a kemitza. Gudal, etzba, amma, kemitza, zeret. I'll repeat. I'm sorry, I know many of you are afraid from the evil eye, khamse, right? Okay, I'll put it over here, down here. Gudal, etzba, amma, kemitza, zeret. The Sefer Amud Torah says something unbelievable. I remember getting a picture of this on WhatsApp years ago. I don't know where they got it from, but today I saw. He says, if you take the gematria of Gudal, Etzba, Amma, Kemisa, Zeret, with the gematria of Yad, because it's hand, it makes the same exact numerical value of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Eloheinu, Hashem Echad. Same exact. No minus, no add, same exact. So with this we understand what Yaakov Avinu is saying, min haba beyado. Because in my hand, I have the Gudal, the Etzba, the Amma, Kemisa, Zeret. With the hand is the same exact numerical value as 11:18 with the hand that we put on our eyes to say Kriyat Shema. That is why I am not afraid of you. So what does it mean, minha? Right, we ask the question. It says, Vayikach minha ba biyado. So we understand the yado. We understand the ko. We understood that. What's minha? So it said matana, right? Minha means a gift. But we saw the Inquilus doesn't explain it as gift. It explains that tikrubta, sacrifice. Because it says the Sefer Semichat Hachamim. He says, Kriyat Shema, he keneged korban minha. Saying Kriyat Shema, it's as if you are bringing a sacrifice on the altar. Just like we saw earlier. Remember the rabbi said, and the Midrash said, since today we don't have an actual sacrifice or altars, saying Kriyat Shema is equivalent to bringing a sacrifice on the altar. And that is why Unkelus uses the word tikrubta. Because tikrubta means korban. So Unkelus is hinting to us, you say Kriyat Shema like Yaakov Avinu, it's as if you are bringing tikrubta, a korban in the Beit HaMikdash. And it's no coincidence that the Baal HaTurim says on this word minha, he says the numerical value of minha, will do it together. We have time. Mim is 40. Nun is 50. That's 90. Het is 8, 98. He is 5, 98 and 5, 103. He says that's the same numerical value as abanim. What's abanim? Stones, rocks. What does that mean? It's the same exact numerical value as rocks. You remember what we said earlier? David HaMelech, how was he able to defeat Goliath? Because he took rocks. And how many rocks did he take, ladies and gentlemen? 5. Why did he take 5? Because we have 5 fingers. Because Shema Yisrael is Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It's really 6 words. But Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem, and Echad encompasses all the 5 words together. So it says David HaMelech, I will take abanim, same numerical value as minha, which Yaakov Avinu used, because minha is korban, because korban is instead of the korban in the Beit HaMikdash, Kriyat Shema is like a korban, and therefore I will use the power of 5 to defeat my enemy Goliath. You think there's coincidences in the Torah? You see how everything meshes and blends all together? With this we understand the first enemy to meet us when we left Egypt was Amalek. And what does it say about Amalek? The only way that we were able to defeat Amalek is it says in the Pasuk, Ve'ka'asher yarim Moshe yado ve'gabar Yisrael. Only when Moshe was able to lift up his hand, then Amalek will be defeated. What is this business with hand? No, it's not Moshe's hands. It's Moshe reminding Am Yisrael when they're in the war, just like the Kohen reminds them, Shema Yisrael. You have to have the power of Shema Yisrael always available in your hands. I'll try to remember it. Gudal, Etzba, Amma, Kemisa, Zeret. If you have it, that's your homework. Remember that. Same numerical value as 11:18 as Kriyat Shema with the Yad. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is symbolizing and hinting to Am Yisrael, if you have the Yado, if you have the hand that you cover your eyes with in Kriyat Shema, the Gabar Yisrael. You will defeat your enemies. You have nothing to worry about. And you think it's a coincidence that Moshe, Yado, Vegabar Yisrael, those 4 words is numerical value 11:18, same exact numerical value as Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Same exact numerical value. Ladies and gentlemen, we have enemies trying to defeat us day in, day out. Many of our enemies' plans are foiled by Hashem, Baruch Hashem. But we see our enemies trying to defeat us. There is no greater, please, I implore you, I beg you, to tap into the power of Kriyat Shema, to understand what you're saying, to have focus and attention and intention, kavanah and Kriyat Shema, and Be'ezrat Hashem, may Hashem fulfill all your requests and needs, both to defeat your physical enemy and your spiritual enemy with the power of Kriyat Shema. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.